Did you know that 1/3 of all Americans will inherit some wealth in their lifetime? In fact, the average inheritance is about $42,000. In some cases, people can inherit millions, tens of millions, or even hundreds of millions of dollars. For example, in 1933, Barbara Hutton inherited $30 million from an estate belonging to her grandfather, F.W. Woolworth. Unfortunately, by the time she passed away in 1979, she only had $3,500 left in her checking account.
What?
Hard to believe, but it's true. So, in case you ever inherit $30 million, or even just $30,000, let's pass on some knowledge first in this episode of...
So what is an inheritance?
Inheritance, otherwise known as wealth transfer, is when someone's assets or properties are given to someone else after they die. Usually, this wealth transfers to the person's heirs or family members. But sometimes people choose to give part or all of their assets to others, including charities, places of worship, or other institutions. Related or not, anyone listed as a recipient of an inheritance is considered a beneficiary. The process of preparing where someone's inheritance will go after they die is called estate planning. An estate is everything that makes up the net worth of an individual, including money, real estate, investments, and other personal property. The terms of this transfer are laid out in legal documents called a last will and testament, or a trust.
How are wills and trusts different?
Both of these documents clearly define how someone wants their estate to be distributed and managed after their death. The biggest difference is how the wealth transfer takes place.
Looks like a long-lost cousin named Jedediah named me a beneficiary in his inheritance.
Nice! Now, if the inheritance is through a will, the assets listed to you are distributed to you after a process known as probate, in which a court examines the will and declares it legal. On the other hand, if it's through a trust, instead of the benefits going directly to you, the grantor will designate another person, a trustee, the right to hold ownership of and manage those assets for you. That means that you will gradually receive your benefits over the course of time, instead of all at once. The other big difference is that there are different types of trusts. A living trust enables people the ability to begin transferring assets, such as real estate, financial accounts, and personal property, while the grantor is still alive. But a will can only take effect after a person dies.
Are there any taxes when inheriting money?
That's actually kind of a complicated question, because it depends on where you live, how much you inherit, and how it was inherited. There are both inheritance taxes and estate taxes, but they can vary greatly from state to state. That doesn't even include what the federal government wants.
What if somebody owes money and has debt when they die?
What someone owns or owes becomes the responsibility of that person's estate after they die. The assets of the estate are typically sold and used to pay off any debt. If there are any assets left after that, they'll be distributed to the beneficiaries according to the legal documents and state laws.
Then I'm going to get rich.
Hold on now. It's fairly common for people who suddenly inherit large amounts of money to end up broke after a while, like poor Barbara from earlier. People who don't know how to manage their money can easily lose it all, no matter how much they started with, so begin working on those skills now. Then, if you do wind up with an inheritance, whether big or small, you won't spend it all impulsively. As a beneficiary, you'll want to get into the habit of wealth preservation, the practice of wisely managing any inherited assets to ensure that their value doesn't decrease or erode. So, here are some things that you should consider. First, be patient. Receiving a large amount of money can be exciting, but also overwhelming, so be slow and cautious in your decision-making. Seek advice from family members, or if needed, professionals, like a financial planner or an estate attorney. Make sure to understand your budget. Second, be forward-thinking. Your ability to wisely manage money today and going forward will influence your family members and future generations who might inherit your assets someday. Who knows? Your decisions could affect the lives of people 100 years from now. Third, be a savvy beneficiary. There are a lot of unusual and specific terms, like probate, executor, and intestate. So make sure you understand them. With an estimated $30 trillion expected to transfer to younger generations in the upcoming years, you may end up receiving some inheritance, even if you don't expect it. With serious wealth comes serious responsibility, so you'll want to be financially prepared and wise if that day comes. You don't want to end up striking it rich and then losing it all.
The inheritance to you as a beneficiary includes 15 million chickens? Jedediah!
Watch more at PragerUkids.com. And parents, don't forget to subscribe.